Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Millie on there. We back with another reaction. Today we got when Joe Rogan beefed with his father on YouTube by Sonny V2. I've already reacted to a video of his. I think it was like a Bobby video. It's like a y'all can check it out. It's on my channel. Y'all can check it out. I like his content, man. He makes very good content, and yeah, we just gonna check this video out. So let's not waste no more time. Let's get into it. Come on.
When Joe exposed his own terrible father,
my real father was crazy. He was like a psychotic person.
It strangely became a TikTok beef.
You lied about me. Your father. You owe me a big apology.
You'll need a bit of context. Joe was born in August 1967 to Joseph Rogan Sr. and his mother Susan Lembo. As a child, Joe thought his dad was awesome.
Well, at the time, I thought that my father was like a hero. I think every kid thinks like that about his dad, especially if your dad is like an imposing figure.
But at the age of only 5, his parents got divorced, at which point Joe and his mother moved to San Francisco, where she remarried, giving Joe a stepdad. Meanwhile, his biological father, Joseph Rogan Sr., lived his own separate life as a cop in New Jersey, leading him and Joe to completely lose contact.
Damn.
But as he entered his teens, Joe realized his father wasn't exactly a hero. In a 2015 Rolling Stone interview, Joe explained, "All I remember of my dad," he says, "are these brief violent flashes of domestic violence. But I don't want to complain about my childhood. Nothing bad ever really happened to me. It was just confusing, you know. He was just a very violent, scary guy. After the split, we moved to San Francisco and that was it. Never heard from him again."
Damn, bro. Damn, bro. That's kind of sad, dog. And it's kind of sad, bro. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are dealing with that, like, nowadays, like, currently right now. And, like, man, that it just causes trauma and shit. Like, shit, stuff like that causes trauma, man. Man. But, you know, look where Joe Rogan's at, man. I mean, it's not impossible to overcome that, man. It's not impossible to overcome a parent that is, you know, abusive like that. So, man, it sucks to hear that, man. It really does, man.
It was further mentioned that Joe really would rather not discuss the topic, made apparent by its lack of discussion on the podcast. For the first 4 years of the Joe Rogan experience, he never once mentioned his biological father. But all of this changed on episode 118, when Joe began to expose exactly who his father was.
All my damaged shit came from my real father before I was 7. My real father was crazy. He was like a psychotic person.
He explained some of the worst things that his dad had done.
He beat the out of my mother.
Like he would be the type to come home
He beat
like,
the out of my cousin.
Really?
Yeah, he beat my cousin up.
Damn.
He picked my cousin up by his hair, threw him in. He was a big guy, big, scary, crazy cop from New Jersey. I got to see worst case scenario, someone who just can't keep it together, smacks women, beats the shit out of kids.
Further adding in the Rolling Stone interview,
That's
when
crazy,
I was 5,
bro.
I had a fight with one of my cousins, punched him in the face over something stupid. My dad pulled me aside and I told him the truth of what happened. He said, "Did you cry?" I said, "No." He said, "Good, don't ever cry." I mean, he was happy that I punched my cousin.
Hey, and the thing is, like, there is actually fathers like that. Like, there's really, like, man, I grew up where, me personally, I grew up in a time where, I mean, I was growing up in the 2000s, so the thing was like, even then, like, kids were being told, don't cry, be a man, don't ever cry. And, like, you know, that stuck with us. Like, majority of us, like me, man, like, that stuck with me and shit. Being told that man don't ever cry and stuff like that, so. Sometimes it's good advice, sometimes it's bad because you bottle your emotions and stuff like that. So sometimes it's not the best advice. But from what Joe Rogan is speaking about in this instance right here, yeah, I mean, the dad was, in a way, he liked violence. Because look what he said. He said, "Did you cry?" Joe Rogan said no. He said, "Good, don't ever cry." I mean, in a way, it kind of seemed like he kind of enjoyed the fact that his kid, Joe, beat up his cousin, you know? So, I don't know. I find it a little weird.
He didn't give a that I was in a fight. He just wanted to make sure there was no crying bitches in the street.
See?
It was
That is
intense.
not great advice for a 5-year-old.
I was punching everybody after that. I was like, all right, you're getting punched. It was so stupid. It was like the worst way of raising a child ever.
At this point, however, Joe was barely famous, and as a result, his father won't respond directly to the allegations. All he will say is, I don't talk about people the way they talk about me. That's not in my DNA. What's gone is gone. Despite his father denying the allegations, Joe had clearly been through something.
There's something about like seeing someone you're close to who's an adult beating up like a 10 or 11-year-old. You ever see that before?
To the extent that it changed who Joe was as a person.
Is there a violent person in there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of violence in me for sure. I don't know if it's genetic or learned or
Your mom and dad broke up early on. Is it connected to the dad at all?
I'm sure it's connected to him also because he was violent and it made me feel very scared to be around him. But I also think it's connected in who he was as a human is transferred into my DNA.
In the meantime, Joseph Rogan Sr. had 2 twin daughters, automatically making them Joe Rogan's half-sisters. One of them told the Daily Mail, I was 19 years old when my father told me about Joe Jr. He was not even famous yet. He was a comedian and did a show called News Radio. We looked him up on the computer and emailed him asking to meet and explained that his father would also like to meet him. Joe did respond, but not kindly. He referred to my father as a sperm donor.
Damn.
So my sister and I backed off and never emailed him again.
Damn.
Joe clearly had no interest in reuniting with his father.
Did you ever want to meet your dad? Did you ever? See, you know what's funny? My mom.
I mean, I met him. I knew him until I was like.
I mean, can you blame Joe, man? Like, can you really blame Joe Rogan for not wanting to see him after what he saw as a kid and after, you know, according to Joe, you know, the dad abandoned his mom and him, you know. Does he really, like, can you blame him for not wanting to see his dad ever again? You know, there's a lot of people like that. A lot of people that don't want to see their dad ever again, man. I get it, man.
Instead, using the experience as a learning lesson.
It made me realize that you can't count on people, but you can
Then
count
that's
on
trust
some
issues,
people.
man.
I did
Facts.
definitely had
That's trust
issues for a long
issues right
time,
there.
But become someone that people count on.
But while Joe thought his dad wouldn't see what he had said,
My parents, well, like regular people,
Your
no.
parents don't listen to this show. They got shit to do.
No, they don't. But if they did, they're boomers. They're
course.
full on.
it turns out Joe Rogan Sr. had always been watching. Conveniently, after Joe had made hundreds of millions of dollars, his father and half-sister went public via TikTok.
What if I told you this was the last ad you would ever see? Still here? Let me explain. It's a free Chrome exam.
Shut your ass
For all
up!
you Joe Rogan fans.
His father and half-sister went public via TikTok.
So for all you Joe Rogan fans out there, Joe's been telling his side of the story for 27 plus years. Now it's time for the original Rogans to tell our side of the story.
It begins with Joseph Sr. first calling his son out.
Lied about me. Your father. Tired of it, Joe. I just had enough. You couldn't handle me. 81 years old. You couldn't handle this guy right here. And when you said I beat up kids, I beat up other women, how could I get away with that? You lied. We all know you lied. You owe me a big apology.
Whilst his half-sister
my
supported that their dad did nothing wrong.
Joe, you were taken away at a very young age. Unfortunately, you did not get to grow up with the man that we were fortunate enough to grow up with, that my kids are fortunate enough to grow up with.
They try to make it seem like they simply wanted to talk.
Come here, sit down, and me and you talk. That's it. I won't tell nobody what was said. I'm a stand-up guy. I ain't like you making up stories so I can make money.
However, money seemed like the more obvious motive.
Damn.
You got all the money, everything, but you know what you don't have? You ain't got 2 balls.
I love when I see
Oh
the
my
comments. I
God.
just want the money.
Yo, what the hell, bro? Yo, he's talking spicy, dog. Like, bro, I didn't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it, bro. Joe Rogan, like, this guy, his father, like, to Joe Rogan, he's a nobody. He's a nobody. To Joe Rogan, in his head, it kind of seemed like he's a nobody, man. Like Joe Rogan doesn't owe him nothing, rightfully so, in my opinion. I don't think he owes him anything. But man, he's talking spicy, bro. This some Family Feud right here. Nah, bro.
They want the money back. I have a box, Pandora's box. And if I open it, Joe, things would get really ugly.
The video concluded with his father stating
What?
this.
Family is everything.
leading him and the daughter to get mercilessly roasted. Family is everything. The guy who left his kid.
You see?
Son, now that you're worth 500 million, I want to fix our relationship. His dad was silent for 27 years about this. He conveniently waited until Joe Rogan was the
It'd be
most
like
powerful
that, man.
voice in the country and worth 110 million to come back into his life and square everything up. If it was about blood, he would have been there 50 years ago making things right. Despite the heavy backlash, Joe's family doubled down, stating on a press tour, "Growing up, my sister and I just had such a happy childhood. I just can't tell everyone enough what a great father we have. God has blessed us," she said. "My father has never been violent ever. That is why Joe Jr.'s claims are such a shock to us. My father has never even raised his voice to us. He is the epitome of a wonderful father."
Yeah, but it kind of seems like with dads, when I see, from what I see, I'm not a dad, I'm not a father, but from what I see, I see that dads are more compassionate about their daughters and they're more tough on their sons. This could be a case, or I might be wrong. I don't know. I mean, I don't know nothing about their personal life or nothing. But from what I've seen, fathers are more caring and more gentle with their daughters than they are with their sons. I mean, what y'all think? Y'all let me know in the comment. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Alright?
However, a podcast episode they did shortly after again portrayed the opposite. Joseph Sr. introduced his son like this.
As he was growing up, what did you notice in Joe?
He was soft.
Soft?
Yeah.
Soft.
Y'all see what I mean? Do y'all see what I mean? Bro, he called him out in front of like thousands of people who watched this podcast, bro. He called him soft as a kid. Y'all see, right?
In what way, sir?
He wouldn't get involved with people, and he wasn't a tough kid.
And then proceeded to state.
Everybody out there, I'm gonna tell you straight up, Joe's full of shit in plain English. He went to drama school. You can see he's a drama queen. Everything is drama to him.
If he's that crazy at 81, I can only imagine when he was 40. He then accuses his son of being gay.
Joe has sugar in his tank?
I'll bet on that.
Did you see signs of that when he was young?
Long time ago.
Did he ever show interest in girls?
I didn't see him much since he was 7 years old. I didn't even know what the girl was.
But it was clear that his father was simply bitter.
I think the wrong thing they did was give him that #1 over his head. If you look at his head, it got bigger. His head got bigger than his head.
Despite this, Joseph Sr. still wanted
That's
to meet
crazy,
his son,
bro.
stating, "I'm on my way out. I'm 80 years old. I'm in the rearview mirror, but I would like to see him. I definitely would sit down with him because he needs to listen to my side of the story." However, calling Joe...
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry for the pausing, but bro, like, you were in a podcast bashing him, bro. You're in a podcast calling him soft, calling him, homo. You know what I'm saying? You call him a homosexual, a gay person. Like, the things that you're saying, man, like, why would Joe Rogan want to ever talk to you after? I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan heard this podcast or there were some clips sent to him or whatever, but I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan heard what he said. Why would Joe Rogan ever want to talk to this guy, bro? Like, he bashed him like crazy, bro.
out made this way less likely, because recently, when Bert Kreischer asked Joe about his father, Joe refused to give the topic attention.
Y'all
Is
see?
your dad still alive? Yeah. Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, allegedly.
Positively, however, it's made Joe a better person.
Because I watch my kids I watch them, I talk to them, I communicate with them. I didn't have a good childhood, so for me it's important to be a good dad. Talking to them, treating them like I'm not just their dad, but also I'm their friend and I care about them.
It's never been easier to start a...
Shut your ass up, bro. Anyways, y'all, it was a good video, man. I did not know that Joe Rogan was having beef with his dad. This is why I fuck with this channel, man. I really do fuck with this channel. It's like a documentary series. In this case, it was a little short, but overall, man, it's sad. It's a pretty sad case, and like this is happening in the real world. Like, it's not only Joe Rogan and his dad. Like, bro, there's sons who are having, problems with their biological parents, and it's tough, man. It's tough to see, man. That's why kids end up growing out to be, bad to society, you know. But that's just a whole other topic and stuff like that. But man, I personally believe that Joe Rogan has, you know, all the right not to talk about the situation and completely ignore it. I'm pretty sure he heard it. Pretty sure he heard what his dad had to say, and he does not have to pay any attention to him whatsoever, bro. He can live his life knowing that he was a great father to his kids and did good for himself, you know. So shout out to Joe Rogan for that, man. Anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. I'm on the road to 30 subscribers. I would really appreciate if y'all help me get there. Anyways, y'all, once again, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll see you in the next time. See ya!